Hey Taurus, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings, so we'll take what works, leave what doesn't. As with everything in life, if I don't catch your wavelength or storyline on this particular reading, check your other major placements or wait till next week. We're starting off with an intuitive vibe from the Oracle decks, and then we'll move to a more traditional spread with the Tarot of Mystical Moments. And if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. It makes me blissfully happy and also helps other people find the channel. So, okay, that's one card. All right, Taurus. That's good. Anything else for Taurus from this deck? Anything else for Taurus from this deck? So I'm working right now with Moonology and Work Your Light. And then I also want to grab, I have this new deck called Urban Crow from a Seattle-based artist. And it's so beautiful and amazing. And the messages are very unique and work on multiple levels. I may use the guidebook because what I'm finding is I get a really clear intuitive hit from it, but the guidebook also adds quite a bit to, it's just got layers. It's got layers and it's got messages that no other deck has been able to give me. You know, the artists and what they choose, it's all so unique. And so some messages can come out with different decks, right? That's one reason why I like to shift my decks around, is because there's different, each deck has sort of themes or probably psychological themes that the artist was working through, or the creator of the deck was their cycles, their things that they work through. Anyway, so we've got some cards here. Oh, just... So anyway, every artist is communicating something, right? And the artists who do these decks communicate, as we all must, the part of their personal themes in life. And so some decks convey some things that, you know, other decks would never, you could never get that message out. So, okay, well, let's start with this one. It's definitely grabbed my attention. Okay, isolation. Here's the Urban Crow here. Separated from the group, feeling alone. Yeah, separated from the group. And then we're also getting full moon in Capricorn, the end of a tough cycle approaches. So perhaps this isolation hasn't been your favorite thing. There's always something to learn in isolation. But there is some sort of separation from your tribe, or, you know, obviously in this time, I think a lot of people, unless, you know, you specifically have a job that requires it, have experienced a lot of this. I want to read it. Reader's prerogative. Isolation. Even when surrounded by a group, we all have experienced a feeling of being alone at one time or another. You may have offered an unpopular opinion or found yourself within a group that didn't connect. Use this time to go inward, examine what ideas or insights come to mind. Isolation may also indicate a need to remove yourself from a situation, to quiet your mind and contemplate your next move. Oh, that's interesting. It could be a choice to isolate, a choice to move away and get more in touch with who you are and what you want. And just because your idea was unpopular does not necessarily mean, of course, that it was wrong. It just was unpopular. So using the opportunity of isolation to think some things through, you know, maybe isolation, maybe you just double down and you're like, yeah, I am like this, or yeah, I do feel like this. And if that's the price I have to pay, that's the price I have to pay. That'll be okay. I can handle that. So, and the isolation within a group is interesting too. So end of a tough cycle approaches. So full moon in Capricorn, some sort of difficult thing that's required a lot of your work, a lot of effort, a lot of focus and attention, closing up a chapter here, not a book, a chapter of something here, possibly this isolation, being able to move forward from that. We also have, what do you need to release? Waning moon, winter rest, downtime, and it's safe to move on. So these two working together, end of a tough cycle and safe to move on. Releasing something, releasing, yeah, you know, that can be anything from a feeling, concepts, emotions, to, you know, relationships or ways that we've done things, or there's a sense of rest here though, right? And we have this end of a tough cycle approaches. We also have a fiery climax approaches, full moon in Aries here. So it could be very exciting how this thing closes out and how it ends. Something that's been really difficult to deal with, ending, and coming to some sort of completion. A fiery climax approaches, that one has some hit or miss. Like sometimes it's like anything exciting, something exciting happening. But it doesn't, I don't know. I guess me and the deck have different versions of what's exciting. So, so some sort of climax or ending, coming at you and ending this difficult cycle. It could be a little bit exciting or a little bit explosive at the end. And then what do you need to release? It could be control. It could be sadness. It could be an expectation of things going wrong. It could be lots of things. So, you know, what do you need to release? You'll know that, but it is a sense of rest, and it feels like it comes after this exciting end of a tough cycle, exciting, this ending, or this this difficulty coming to an end. When those difficulty comes to an end, we often need to breathe out. Just breathe out, release the breath, release the tension that's built up inside of us, release the worries and the fears and everything we've held up, you know, as things were difficult and hard, and letting go of some things. And it's wintertime, which also is harsh, but is also can be very harsh, but also is a time of rest for nature. The parts of nature that are not freezing cold and being affected by having no daylight. So, so it can be a rest time, time of rejuvenation, but it seems like there's something closing out, and then you'll want to sort of reboot or rejuvenate yourself, because we also have play here, have fun, celebrate. So maybe there is some sort of celebration. Maybe this is a great, you know, a really good party, or a really good thing happening, masked party. So play, have fun, celebrate. This could be this releasing, shaking off some sort of stressful, difficult thing that happened through play. Play can also be any activity that doesn't have an end goal, that doesn't have, where you're not focused on the outcome, focused on creating a certain outcome, but letting whatever outcome happen. So that is part of inherent to play, is not necessarily attempting to produce something saleable or anything like that, but this this thing where it's just doing it for the sheer joy of doing something. But it also seems to be like cutting loose, releasing some stress and tension here. Trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? So we have, you know, you could have some twists and turns. That's what that one always means to me. Trust your path. It's not going to go exactly the way you think it's going to go. Things aren't going to happen in the order that you thought they were going to happen. You may have some wild goose chases that you go on of like, okay, this, nope, okay, not that. Redirections, all of that. You'll find your way through. You'll find your way to where you're going, but it is going to be a little bit wonky, and there could be some moments of like, wait, what? How did that not work? I expected that to work. And so just getting redirected there. Try to have a good time while you get through all the little twists and turns, the little labyrinth. That's what Trust Your Path always reminds me of, is a labyrinth where you think you're going straight to the source, straight to the goal, and then it turns out there's all these little side things here, and you got to go all the way around, and then you get there, but it just wasn't a straight arrow. So there could be some challenges, some twists and turns here, but try to trust the path ahead of you. Pleiades, channeling and uplifting humanity. This always talks to me about a conversation that's uplifting, that's enjoyable, that's combining with this play here, some sort of conversation that's sort of part of play or just enjoying yourself. And it could be the end of this isolation, right? We're having this conversation here, and it could be bringing an end to some sort of isolation or some sort of separation from someone, or not talking to someone, or something like that, some sort of sense of isolation. Because we do have this end of a tough cycle. We started with isolation, fiery climax approaches. It could be that you're going to be getting together with some people, and it could be pretty exciting. You could have some uplifting conversations, and that sense of isolation may be coming to an end. All right, Taurus. This is your past, your present, your inner landscape. What's at issue? Your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome. Okay. All right. In light of what we've just seen here, we have Four of Cups. In your recent past, Four of Cups is an offer and a refusal. So you could be any character. You could be the one offering or the one refusing. This could be an offering that's been offered before, and maybe you've accepted it before, but this time it's just not that interesting. It could have been a repeated offer. This often speaks to me about patterns of interrelating with people that get repeated and repeated and repeated until they're broken, until we finally realize, like, you know what, Maybe I don't want this. Maybe I'd rather be alone than deal with the shit you bring to every conversation, to every interaction we have. Maybe I would just rather not engage. So there's an offer and there's a refusal to engage with that offer. Whether this is a repeated pattern, an unhealthy pattern that's gone on in the past, where there's been someone that stepped out of it and was refusing to engage with the unhealthy pattern, or whether this is an offer that's being made and just not acknowledged or not seen. Maybe you offered somebody something and they didn't either see it or acknowledge it, or they refused the offer, and that's not what they wanted. And even though it made sense to you and it seemed really great and a perfect idea, it may not have been. It didn't resonate with them. It wasn't what they wanted. It wasn't part of what they were looking for and needing at the time. So, but at its core, the Four of Cups is an offer being made and a refusal. So to engage with that offer, even at all, even to just engage with it or entertain the offer or anything like that. So that you could be on either side of that. It could be a healthy offer or a not healthy offer, but I do see this sense of isolation may have resulted from this offer being refused either on any direction. Either you refused an offer and put yourself into willing isolation from this person or willing separation from the offerer, or they refused and it was a less than willing separation. So, and then here we have this tough cycle. Six of Swords is where you're at. You've been in a difficult place and you'd like to move on. You're ready to move away from either a mentality that's caused you a lot of pain and suffering, or just a relationship that may have caused you pain and suffering. Both of these are like, I've had it with this place. I've had it with this situation. I don't want anymore. These two together really look like you refusing to re-engage with something that wasn't healthy for you, or didn't benefit you, or wasn't good for you. Refusing to re-engage with that, and now what? I want to move away from this place that hasn't been useful for me, that hasn't actually been very good for me. I mean, maybe every time she turns around to face that goose, the goose like honks her nose or bites her or something. Like a lot of what this card in other decks depicts is just someone who's had enough and doesn't need anymore. Combining with this card, this offer and this refusal. So maybe this could go either way. This could be like somebody made an offer, you made an offer, it was refused. Now you just want to move on and away from this situation, away from this feeling of rejection, maybe away from this sensation. I mean, we were talking about in the isolation card is a choice for isolation, a choice to isolate yourself, a choice to separate yourself from something. And that comes in really clearly with the Six of Swords. But the Six of Swords it's just wanting to leave a painful place. The place where you've been at has been painful enough and you would like to move on. You don't even give a shit at this point in the Six of Swords where exactly you're going. You just like to go. You just would like to move. You've just pulled up anchor. You don't know where you're going yet. You don't know what direction to go in, but this has been a very emotionally unfulfilling, unsatisfying, possibly extremely painful situation, and you're done with it and you'd like to move on. You'd like this to be over. You'd like to move on. So whatever happened with this offer and this refusal of an offer has created a lot of pain, and you're either ready to move on from a sense of isolation or ready to move into isolation. Man, these generals can be pretty funny. As far as like, how many storylines could we possibly fit into this? So being ready to move on. And I see that with this, what do you need to release? This anchor up, releasing a hold on the situation, releasing a grounding in the situation, releasing a commitment to stay in the situation. And the end of a tough cycle approaches. This is being ready to move on and having made initial steps and the initial commitment to moving away from something that's very painful and difficult for you. So then in your inner landscape, your hopes, your fears, you have the Empress. So this is about wanting something to be, wanting to be enough in and of yourself. So maybe this supports more of the wanting the isolation, choosing to separate yourself because you know that you're enough. In addition, this Four of Cups can often be like, I have enough. I don't need this. Thank you very much. I'm doing fine without this. I don't really need your umbrella. I don't need your protection. I don't need your offer. And I think you're hopeful that you're right. You're hoping that you really don't need, you hope that you have enough. You hope that you are enough. You are looking at concepts of, do I need other people? What other people exactly do I need? Because I'm ready to move on and away from something that's not working for me, something that's been painful and difficult, but you may lack confidence, self-confidence that you can do this without the help, that you are enough as you are, that you have enough without needing other people, without needing this offer, either whether you were the one to offer or you were the one to refuse it. You have your doubts about your refusal if you did refuse the offer of whatever assistance or whatever help. You may be having your doubts about whether you're going to be able to handle whatever future you've committed to now, but you know that you don't want to do it the old way. You know you don't want to continue on in this old pattern, but you may be having some worries and some concerns about whether you are enough as you are today, whether you have enough power, enough resources, enough inner resources to be able to actually strike out on your own or actually leave this situation behind and head out on your own path, because the Empress is very independent and self-sufficient. So that's where you're having some doubts or some questions. Are you independent enough? Are you self-sufficient enough to be able to refuse this offer, continue refusing the offer, and to move away from this painful place? This would be like a metaphor might be, you don't like your roommates and you want to move out, but you're not sure you can afford a new apartment. You're not sure if you have the resources to actually afford living on your own or actually afford a move or something like that. So, but you're ready, you're definitely ready, like this is not working for me anymore. But you don't know if you have the resources and the ability to do it on your own, or it could be like some sort of group project that you haven't been feeling like you're part of this team anymore. You'd really like to move on. You feel sort of isolated within the team, but now you're wondering if, can you make it on your own? Can you find a different job? What about a different team? Something like that. So there is this theme of isolation coming through here. And it could be both. It could be like feeling not part of the group or not really like you're getting what you need out of a group dynamic. And so could you choose isolation? Would that actually work for you? Would it work for you to separate yourself from whatever's going on here and strike out on your own? So it's questions I think that you're asking yourself right now. And what's at issue is death in reverse. This is just a big transition, upright or reverse. It's a huge transition. You might be really thinking about building something new. I mean, this is all about closing out a painful chapter, and this is all about building a new chapter. So you're in the middle of a big transition, thinking about the future, thinking about how you're going to handle the future. The death is sort of closed. This end of a tough cycle approaches is this card right here, closing out that old cycle and having some questions and concerns about what lies ahead and about your new reality as you close out something that's been painful, really not working for you, and not a good model, a good way to operate for you. in your environment, you have Two of Cups. You have someone who is, you know, heart of your heart, a bird of a feather, some sort of soulmate. This can be a work soulmate, a friend soulmate. You know, it's not all romantic soulmates. For some of you, it might be. But there is, or there could be someone in your environment that has met their match, that is very happy. And you might be looking at that and being like, I do not have that. That's not the situation I'm in right now, and I would like that. So there's someone in your, there's either, you know, someone in your environment that's met their match either at work or in their life, or has like a strong partnership, a strong partner to support them emotionally, a strong emotional connection. So, and you might be looking at that, and maybe that's helped you realize that what you have isn't what you want. And you may need to strike out on your own. This couple, or this person that has met up with something that's very inspiring and resonates with them and feels right to them. They could be inspiring you to move on to your journey, maybe not intentionally inspiring you, but you may be like, oh, I think I do want that. I think I want that resonance, that thing that resonates with me and makes me feel good and alive. It could just be a strong emotional connection with someone that you know also. Your to-do list is Knight of Pentacles here. This is planning for the future. This is your to-do list. This is what you're thinking about as long-term growth and stability. I mean, you're wondering if you have what it takes. The situation is it's time to focus on the future, time to focus on the next situation, you know, your next apartment, your next roommates, if we're going to continue on with that metaphor. This is about wanting to build a stable foundation, maybe some communication. We have communication in here, but wanting to build a stable foundation. The pentacles have to do with time, money, all of that, and wanting that to be solid, wanting that to be secure, wanting to plan something out. This is all planning, very little movement. There could be discussion, but not a lot of movement. Planning, thinking about what you want, thinking about what you want in the future. Thinking about how to make this happen. You've already sort of decided that you'd like to move away from something that's not working for you. So this is all about thinking about it, planning about it, maybe budgeting for it, figuring out how much money you would as a metaphor, you know, how much money you would need to move out or move out of this situation, or make a move on what you want to do. So maybe some talking about it, some planning about it, but not a lot of strong movement, but a very developing a strong vision for future growth, slow, solid future growth. And what's going to happen is Ace of Pentacles. You are going to get this new beginning here that we're talking about here, this transition to a new beginning in reality. It is going to come forward. Right now, you're in a bit of a planning stage, but after that planning stage, you are going to be able to make this happen. Here's the planning stage. Planning stage started way down here. It's been growing for a while. What you've got coming up in your future is going to have a really solid foundation and a really solid base. And you're going to be sort of in awe of what you've been able to accomplish. But it is going to take, your current job is to be in this, here's Jack here. Your current job is to be in this space of planning, organizing, and really thinking about how you're going to build a solid foundation, a solid base. And then it does come. It does come. You do start something new. You do get this new thing, and it's so solid. It's been growing for a long time before you even see it. So you do get a new beginning in the 3D. All right, Taurus, I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for your likes, subscribes, and comments. Have a great week.